All right, so I'm going to start going live because I'm just going to start checking things off as they come into my brain. So this is going to be my first live video. It's going to be geared towards the Ministry of Health. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot because I really do want to quit smoking. But before I quit smoking, I do want to share, this is the lightest brand that you can find. I'm still smoking because I'm still pretty self-destructive. I haven't really started healing yet. My dog just died. My life has been hell for the most part. And I don't know. I've been smoking like a fucking chimney, really, because of stress. And I think that's what a lot of people say. A lot of people are, you know, smoking for various reasons in their life isn't really that peachy. It's not like, people want to quit smoking usually when everything's really nice in their life and they know that there will be no triggers that will get them to smoke again, like a shitty job or they want to be stable. People usually want to be really stable because we all know that quitting is really difficult. This is what I've been smoking. You can see, I don't know if you can see, the filter goes to here. It's like that long. But there are people that ask me for a cigarette, and I'm like, do you want some scissors with that? So you can like cut this off. My lungs aren't really the best. I have a history of people with bad lungs in my family. So, my mom's been a smoker, my grandmother was a smoker, my cousin is a smoker, my aunt was a smoker. Two of those have had lung cancer. One has emphysema and COPD. And I'm only 36 and I have a really bad chronic cough. And it's probably because I smoke 2 packs of poison a day. And so I go through like 1.5 of these, like almost 2 a day. And it's just stress having to do these kinds of videos, always thinking about the injustices and taking on too much. And it's frustrating to me because these are the lightest cigarettes. I used to smoke Slims and menthols because they were easier to smoke. And, when I was in Europe, cigarettes were like $3, $4 a pack, which I found really interesting because when cigarette prices went up, it was all about trying to get people to quit smoking. It was like, let's make it unaffordable for them and make their lives even harder, really, instead of making it easier for them to quit. They've made it harder for them to quit by making it so expensive. So when I go to the store, I buy 4 of these at a time, so I don't have to go to the store very often. 4 of these is $87 Canadian. And I've tried every other smoke and it hurts. I cough and I shouldn't be smoking, really, but I don't really have a choice right now because things are not easy in my life. I'm afraid to quit and start again because something traumatic happens, and this entire experience dealing with all of my traumas is very traumatizing. I wish that I could smoke something that was affordable and easier on my lungs, such as Slim cigarettes or Slim menthols, and still be able to get whatever I need from this during a very traumatizing time at an affordable price and with as much as I want because it's my body and it's my choice. Now, I find it really interesting that the taxes that went into educating us, okay, and the price of these cigarettes basically go into our medical costs because we're at higher risk for lung problems. And for the marketing and education. And I find it really interesting because the education that they use isn't the education that's going to help us quit. In fact, that's been kept from us entirely as to why we have a physical addiction. And the education is all fear tactics, and the access to healthcare, I can't even get into a doctor or see anyone. I can't go to the hospital. The doctors treat me like less of a person because I am a smoker. Okay, I pay you more every day, actually. My money goes into extra money from me goes into the healthcare system through this. And I don't even have a doctor or service or anything, or I get treated like shit. I pay more than the average person. And I don't even get to choose what I fucking smoke. I'm resorting, and these are Canadian cigarettes. Matinee is a Canadian brand, and it's like fucking expensive. They're like $22, $21 a pack. $22 a pack, I get a discount when I buy 2 at a time. Now, that's why I'm pressing for this lawsuit. I want all my money back for all the taxes that I've paid. And I want the government to be responsible because we already knew about all of this bullshit education on all of these issues, okay? In fact, everything causes cancer. What should really be said, there should only be one thing on one of these packages for like cancer. And it should say that when you destroy cells and they are rapidly repairing, you have a chance for mutation. When you're filling those scars with toxins, you have a higher chance for mutation. But that goes for anything. That goes for anytime you go into a surgery. Like when you have surgery, you risk cancer because your cells are repairing. And when they repair, that's when it could mutate. So you're damaging your lungs by smoking because it's hot air and poison. It's literally pesticide inside the cigarette. And that pesticide goes in and kills cells, and you're killing cells quite a bit. And as they are repairing, that's when you have a chance for a mutation. But it could happen anywhere. It could happen for anything. You could be, dosing something that's healthy for you that causes damage and, create a mutation, which is basically cancer. And yeah, anything can cause cancer. And I can smoke my entire life and never get cancer. I know people that have. Like it's not a guarantee. I shouldn't be paying more taxes, especially if I don't have access to this cancer treatment that I'm paying for, this extra service. And this education is bullshit. The only education that should be on this, and it's going a little bit better. Like if I need help to quit, I can call this number, or I can go into this website, gosmokefree.gc.ca, and it talks about all of the hardships of smoking. It gives you reinforcement, gives you therapy and things like that. But the real root of this, okay, started like really long time ago. Like back when they said that smoking was healthy for you, like back in the mid 19th century, when tobacco came overseas, people started smoking and pellagra went down. Pellagra is defined by a niacin deficiency. So niacin is found in rich foods like food and seafood and meats and proteins and some seeds like sunflower seeds and things like that. But it's a rich food, so a lot of poor people had pellagra. And when smoking was introduced, people's dementia started going down, dermatitis, and there's 4 Ds in pellagra. So it starts with dementia, then it goes to like dermatitis, and then it goes to disfigurement, and then it eventually kills you if you don't have access to niacin. So doctors, I think, determined, I think it was like 1880 or something, some guy found that niacin is oxidized from the nicotine in the cigarette. Now, in the cigarette, it's just nicotine, and when it oxidizes, it turns into nicotinic acid, which is niacin. Nicotinic acid is good for you, but the source coming from tobacco is not a good source. Yes, they found out that, I think it was like the 30s, 40s, 50s when they decided that, hey, pesticides aren't too good to smoke. And they started infusing white bread with niacin and cereals, and they changed the name from nicotinic acid to niacin so that people would not think that you could get your niacin from a cigarette. And they started to move away from this whole tobacco is healthy, smoke a day, keep a doctor away. But the problem is they didn't educate people properly. All right, so they didn't educate us properly. They tried to hide it and sneak around it. I don't think the tobacco industry was too happy with the fact that they were being called a pesticide. And it was a huge profit before, but it is straight up poison. Now, when I quit smoking, I do it cold turkey. The only reason why I'm smoking now is because I don't really want to live. That's truly the root of the reason why I smoke. It's a suicidal behavior. I'm unhappy. I'm not happy with where I am in my life. A lot of things are traumatically happening around me, so I don't know, I just do it as a means to an end, more or less. But people smoke for a lot of different reasons. I quit. I'd go get massages to try and rub the toxins out as fast as possible. And I get this 500 milligrams of niacin. Okay, the one with the flush. So if you look, you will see on the, I don't know if you can see it on the ingredients there, but this is nicotinic acid. This is pure niacin. You can get the flush-free niacin, but I don't find that is, I don't like that one when I quit smoking. It doesn't do the same for me. But my body is only supposed to have like what? 10. Yeah, this is a vitamin B3 complex with niacin instead of a nicotinic acid. This is called Thorn B complex. It's really good. I get this one because this is a B complex with straight up niacin. And it has the flush, but it only has 10 milligrams, so it doesn't flush you. But this is used for regulating your blood pressure. It flushes the blood to the surface of your skin. It makes you flush. The reason why it flushes is because your blood is a different body temperature, and then the surface of your skin is a little bit warmer. And when it releases from your vessels, it goes to the surface of your skin, and you go really red, and it's really warm. It's hot. Kind of feels like a sunburn on everything all over your body for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. It's kind of itchy, but it's not a sunburn, obviously, but just kind of feels like that hot steaminess. It is kind of uncomfortable, I will say. I will also tell you that because of your smoking, you're only used to getting 10 milligrams. I think it's about, depending on the cigarette brand and how much nicotine is in it, you're getting like, 2 to 10 milligrams of niacin per cigarette, I think I read. So when you have, like, for me, there's 25 cigarettes in this, so like, I don't know, 30, 40 cigarettes a day. Let's see what that is. I don't like doing math in my head. Let's take the average, say 5 milligrams. So that's like 150 milligrams of niacin possibly per day. It's way more than you need. And it's also a constant supply. So what happens is your body does actually evolve. It evolves to many things, whether it's moisturizer on your skin. It thinks, hey, I don't have to create moisturizer anymore because you're always putting some on. So your lips get exponentially dry when you don't have any on because your body isn't used to preparing it because it always thinks it has some on. Same goes things for like smoking cigarettes. Your body eventually evolves into thinking that it deserves and requires to function off of this exponential amount of niacin. So you get built up with this extra niacin per day, and it literally you don't even need that much, but your body eventually thinks that, hey, it really needs that. Niacin is not created by your body. It does have to come from an outside source. It's usually stored in your liver, or it's metabolized in your liver. And that's why ex-smokers often go into relapse when they're drinking, because alcohol flushes your liver, and any niacin you've had throughout that day will be released out of your liver, and you will immediately crave, your body will go into a niacin deficiency, and it will crave the closest source of niacin. And if somebody is smoking, or your body will start to think, oh, I know where to get that. And you will crave, you'll start to smell the cigarette. You will start to think about it. You might, smell your fingers thinking, oh my God, it might, you go into those sort of relapses, and you end up at a store and you buy a pack of cigarettes, and you have one, and you have another, and then you have another, and then you're hooked again. And what you really need to do is to make sure that you maintain a certain level of niacin. When you first quit, when you take this 500 milligrams of flush, you don't even flush. It's crazy. It's like your body knows what to do with 500 milligrams of niacin. Like you can take this whole thing on the first day of seizing no, like when you wake up the first day after not having a cigarette, and you go your first day as a non-smoker, your first day is quite edgy. If you take this, it cuts that edge down like so much, okay? And you don't even flush. And you can tell when your body is starting to level out, like over 2 or 3 days, when you're not hitting this all day, every day, and you're starting to slowly get over that constant hit of niacin, eventually this, okay, starts to flush again. And your body starts to adapt to not having as much niacin. Part of quitting is getting over this niacin that you get in your body that flushes when you have a cigarette. Niacin is also becomes deficient after activity, after stressful situations, when you're mentally, exerted. You will crave a cigarette, but you're actually craving niacin because your body is metabolizing it when you're in a state of adrenaline, or like after sex, people crave cigarettes because their niacin goes deficient. So all of these types of things are related. And the fact that all of that information is not on this, and I've known this now for a long time, and I've been educating people on this information for at least 10 or 15 years now. I think it's a crime, and I think it's negligent that we've had this information since 1800s, and we're not providing it to the public, okay? And it's a crime. It absolutely is. Like we already know that cigarettes are damaging to us. What we need to know is how to have power over that. Nicotine patches is not power. That's just substituting your nicotine addiction from this to this. Vaping, you're not controlling it. In fact, I don't even know if you're getting much nicotine out of a vape if it's not combusting. If you're just heating up pesticides to like 180 and smoking pesticide vapor, I don't know if it oxidizes inside a vapor the same way it does if it combusts. So I'm not sure if vaping is healthier. I think if I was going to be a smoker, I think combusting it would actually be a bit safer, because at least you are getting a little bit more oxidization and a little bit more niacin, which is what you're actually craving. But I don't know. I know that the pesticide is bad for you, and I know that I would never put a patch on me. Never would I take tobacco and rub it all over my body. It's like straight poison. Like, people wear gloves picking it. It's like people who chew it are chewing straight poison too. Yeah, it kills everything in your mouth as well when you smoke. So yeah, all of these things are well known. We know all of these things. We've known all these things for a while. I shouldn't be paying taxes on these cigarettes anymore for this kind of information. It's redundant. What we really need to know is how to have power over this, why we're actually addicted to it, what is the physical component that links our body to craving this every single day, and I've just explained it with the niacin deficiency. And of course, the classism in society that prevents us from living our best life. I think if more people truly lived their best life and were able to afford everything in their life and have emergency money, I think there would be a lot less smokers. I think a lot of people would give it up because they had time to do other things that they loved. And they had a life to live, basically. But that's not the case here. And so that's why I'm filing a lawsuit against the Canadian healthcare system for making me pay all these costs for things that I can't access, for lying, for using information to manipulate me in a way that does not actually help me. And for all of the discrimination that it's caused. I mean, when I try to meet people now in Canada, they will look down on me. I will not get a job as a smoker. I have been denied so many things because I do this. Denied friendships, sex, jobs, probably doctors have treated me bad. I mean, it's just unbelievable how much discrimination there is over people that have a physical dependency to something and are doing it mostly because they're unhappy and self-destructing. And a lot of people will lie about that, I think, but I think the majority of people smoke because they're, coping with something. And I know that there is a small percentage of people that actually really do enjoy it. I do. But in recent years, I think the majority of people want to quit. And the people that want to quit are people that feel subjected to the high costs that are unreasonable. The health scares, obviously. Everybody's worried about cancer and things like that. And of course, the discrimination. I mean, to be online looking for someone and to constantly see no smokers allowed, no smokers allowed, you feel less of a person. It's not right. Now, I think I've chatted enough. Let me see if I've covered all my topics. No, my notes. Yeah. And of course, it's an Aboriginal medicine too. This is the last point that I have. Tobacco is another item that has been stolen, a resource, an idea. It should have been patented by someone Aboriginal, who is the only people that should be making profit off of this, quite frankly. I'm tired of colonizers going into worlds, learning information, and taking credit for it like it's their own. And people didn't even really smoke it. It was considered a sacred smoke that would be blown over someone or during a ritual. Yes, they knew that it had some medicinal properties, but it wasn't smoked quite like this. And I think it's really sad that this multi-billion-dollar system has exploited something and not given anything really back. Anyways, it will be discussed, all of these issues, with the Ministry of Health, and this is just one little pocket. I'm going to start doing more lives as they come to me, because it's probably faster for me to get all of this information down, and I'm tired of editing and doing stuff like that. So there's just so much on my mind. So I'm going to try and, as I'm cleaning or walking around or working on something else, if these thoughts against the system come to me, I'm just going to sit down and spew them out and get prepared and get them done one by one. And I'm going to start sending them to the government and having them review it. And I want a response to all of it. And even if it has, and I want it done on public record, so I really do want it done in court. And I want all of these issues addressed immediately, like yesterday. So enjoy.